Okay, so you want to own a private jet. Picture it for a second. Your car pulls up directly beside the aircraft. No airport terminal, no security line, no removing your shoes, no waiting for hundreds of strangers to board before you. You walk up the stairs, sit down in a leather seat, and within minutes, you are in the air. A private jet is not just transportation, it is time, it is privacy, it is the ability to leave whenever you want and land almost anywhere you need to go. That is the dream. Here is what actually happens. A private jet can cost $5 million, or $50 million, or over $100 million, and the purchase price is only the beginning. Some owners spend millions every year operating an aircraft that sits unused for most of the month. The same jet can be a powerful business tool for one owner and one of the worst financial decisions imaginable for another. Today, we are going inside the real economics of owning one of the most expensive machines a private individual can buy. Before we talk about the cost, you need to understand what you are actually purchasing. Most people think they are buying an airplane. They are not. They are buying an entire private aviation operation. The aircraft is only the center of the system. Around it, you need pilots, maintenance crews, insurance, hangar space, fuel, inspections, software, management, and an enormous amount of specialized infrastructure. And almost none of those costs disappear just because the aircraft is sitting on the ground. Let us start with the purchase itself. A used light private jet might cost somewhere around $5 to $10 million. A large long-range aircraft can easily cost $50 to $80 million. The newest ultra-long-range jets can go significantly higher, but the advertised price is not necessarily the price you pay. A new aircraft often needs customization. The interior alone can cost millions of dollars. The seats, wood, leather, lighting, bedrooms, bathrooms, entertainment systems, and communications equipment are all selected before the aircraft is delivered. The result is that the aircraft you thought cost $60 million can become an $80 million purchase before it ever carries its first passenger. And then the real ownership begins. The first major cost is the crew. A private jet does not fly itself. A large aircraft typically requires 2 pilots on every flight, and you need enough pilots to cover vacations, illness, mandatory rest periods, and scheduling. In practice, one aircraft may require several full-time crew members just to remain available. Then there is maintenance. Commercial airlines operate aircraft constantly, which means maintenance costs are spread across thousands of passengers and thousands of flight hours. A private jet may fly only a few hundred hours per year, but the aircraft still has scheduled inspections, components still age, systems still require testing. Certain maintenance events are based not only on hours flown but on calendar time. The plane can sit in a hangar for 3 months and still require expensive maintenance. This is one of the most important economic realities of private aviation. You are not paying only for the hours you fly, you are paying to keep the aircraft ready to fly at any moment. Then comes fuel. A large private jet can burn hundreds of gallons of fuel per hour. Depending on the aircraft and the route, a single long-distance flight can consume tens of thousands of dollars in fuel alone, and fuel is only one part of the trip. There are landing fees, navigation charges, handling fees, parking fees, catering, ground transportation, and international operating costs. A flight that feels like a simple trip to the owner is actually a collection of invoices being generated simultaneously across multiple countries. Now add the fixed costs. Insurance on a large private jet can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. A secure hangar can cost hundreds of thousands more, especially at airports where space is limited. Then there is management. Most owners do not personally handle every maintenance schedule, crew certification, fuel contract, and regulatory requirement. They hire a management company to run the aircraft. That company takes a fee, and in some cases the owner also pays additional charges for every flight. The aircraft is now costing money even before it moves. And here is where the economics become uncomfortable. Imagine you buy a $50 million private jet and operate it for 300 hours per year. You might think you are paying for 300 hours of transportation. You are not. You are paying for 8,760 hours of ownership. That aircraft exists every hour of the year. It needs to be insured every hour of the year. It occupies space, it depreciates, it requires maintenance, and every year, another year passes on the airframe. The cost of each actual flight hour becomes dramatically higher once you include everything else. This is why private jets have one of the most misunderstood economics in luxury ownership. The more you use the aircraft, the more expensive your annual operating bill becomes, but the less you use it, the more expensive every individual flight becomes. You are trapped between two different types of inefficiency. And then there is depreciation. A private jet is a machine worth tens of millions of dollars, but unlike a piece of land, it ages every time the calendar moves forward. Technology changes. New aircraft enter the market. Cabin designs become outdated. Engines accumulate hours. Buyers begin asking about upcoming maintenance events. An aircraft that costs $60 million when new may be worth dramatically less several years later, and the loss in value can be larger than the annual operating cost. This is why the wealthiest owners do not always think of their aircraft as an investment. They think of it as a tool. A private jet can save a CEO hundreds of hours per year. It can allow a company executive to visit multiple cities in a single day. It can make remote business locations accessible without relying on commercial schedules. For some owners, the economic value is not the aircraft itself. It is what the aircraft allows them to do, but that only works if the aircraft is being used. And this is where chartering changes the entire equation. Instead of keeping the aircraft exclusively for yourself, you can allow a charter operator to rent it to other passengers when you are not using it. Now the jet becomes a revenue-generating asset. The charter income can offset some of the crew, maintenance, management, and storage costs. But there is a trade-off. The aircraft is no longer completely yours whenever you want it. Other people are using it. The interior experiences more wear. Scheduling becomes more complicated. And you are now operating a small aviation business. You did not eliminate the cost of ownership. You converted the aircraft into a business that has to earn money, and this is why some private jet owners make a decision that surprises people. They do not buy the aircraft personally, they buy it through a company. The company owns the aircraft. The aircraft is used for business travel. Other users may charter it. The structure can create different financial and tax outcomes depending on the jurisdiction and how the aircraft is actually operated. But there is no magic loophole. The aircraft still has to be paid for, the pilot still needs salaries, the engines still need maintenance, and the bank still expects its money. Now imagine the worst possible year. The owner has financed a large portion of the aircraft. Interest rates rise. The jet flies fewer hours than expected. Maintenance is scheduled at the worst possible time. The aircraft is grounded for several weeks. The debt payment does not stop. The insurance bill does not stop. The hangar bill does not stop. The crew still needs to be paid. This is the fundamental economic problem with private jets. The revenue, if there is any, is variable. The costs are largely fixed. During a strong year, the aircraft can be an incredibly valuable tool. During a weak year, it becomes a multi-million-dollar asset sitting on the ground while the expenses continue to accumulate. So, how do the smartest owners think about the decision? They do not ask, "Can I afford to buy the jet?" They ask a different question. How many hours will I actually use it? If you fly only a few dozen hours per year, chartering or fractional ownership may be financially superior. If you fly hundreds of hours, need complete control, and place a high value on time and privacy, full ownership begins to make more sense. And if you are using the aircraft to generate business revenue, the economics change again. But the final reality is this. Owning a private jet is not buying a plane. It is buying a permanent operating company built around one very expensive machine. You are paying for the aircraft when it flies. You are paying for it when it waits. You are paying for it when it is being repaired. And you are paying for it when you are asleep. The people who truly understand private jet ownership are not the ones who simply have enough money to buy one. They are the ones who understand exactly what their time is worth, how often they will use the aircraft, and how much they are willing to pay for control. Because behind every private terminal, every leather seat, and every jet waiting on the runway with its engines ready to start, there is a financial machine running constantly, And the most expensive part of owning a private jet may be the time you are not using it.